How about the Oklahoma Sooners, my man?
So, yeah, everybody knows at this point. I've been a big backer of this team before the season, and in the first couple of weeks, I've been gassing them up, and, I've been catching shit for it. So, takeaways from this game. Brent Venables, him. Absolutely him. He's turned around the defense. They look fantastic. Dillon Gabriel, everybody laughed at me for saying he was a Heisman candidate. Look up in the race and see who's in there now, because he was incredible. And then the most important part that nobody wanted to talk about before the season. Who's the coach that got out-coached in this game?
I mean, it wasn't even close.
Coach circles around him.
Not only did the Vikings have to beat the Chiefs last night, they got to beat the refs. I don't get it. But I probably won't be fading the Chiefs anymore this season. The NFL's got an agenda, and that's get T Swift to the Super Bowl.
You don't table for it.
Man, I fucking love Georgia. I think this line is crazy. This spread is telling, in my opinion, and it tells me Georgia is going to kick the shit out of them.
Damn, brand new bag for pro, but I didn't pay for it. I don't like spending that cash because I'm trying to.
What's good? What's good? Back here rocking it solo. We got Krabs traveling back from the Sunday night game in LA. So I'm here for you today. The little sports equinox we got here, starting with the Monday night game that we got on the board. But we got to get down to business, man. Feels weird. Feels weird not being on BTL for a handful of days. And we're almost at a week now where we haven't been down to business here. So this is what we got to do. W's in the chat. So you guys are super bricked up. He does want it. But, he went to go see Tyson Bagent have a master class. Something's got to give there. So I'm here for you today. And, yeah, long time no see, Chaco. It's only been about 2 days. You hate to see it. But we're back and we're dialed today. We got to be dialed with the games that we have on the board. We only have an hour today, so I won't go too much into talking about stuff from the weekend. But I want to briefly say it. We had a couple of things go down, especially in college football. I mean, we're starting to see madness kind of around the league. We saw that with Oklahoma this week and taken down by Kansas. Kansas is sneakily really good with Jason Bean or not. We had a handful of great games. I mean, let me know in the chat what was your highlight for the weekend from college football, because there's a lot going on. It was a super exciting weekend, and I think next week is only going to get even better. NFL, a couple weird games too. We saw the Chiefs go in with a flu game Patrick Mahomes and get upset in Denver in a little what was supposed to be a snow game, but we magically saw like 0 inches of snow there. It was pretty crazy, pretty weird weekend. Wasn't completely tapped because we were traveling and everything, but it was cool to keep up. If anybody didn't know, Thursday night we were at Bucks Bills. I despise that we made a trip to see Baker Mayfield twice in a week, even though the Bucks somehow they meatballed that game and came through on the spread there. Really, I mean, if Chris Godwin turns around a little earlier, we had a shot at the Hail Mary there, which would have been crazy. I went to Boston College, UConn to sweat out a win total future that I got there. They're one closer. They need one more win. Very doable there to get there. So that could be huge. And then Sunday, everybody went to the Chargers-Bears game last night, which was definitely a blowout there. So, yeah, we're back and ready to go, or at least I am. We got people coming back. We'll probably be tomorrow. And where are we at next? I don't know. It's a great question. I know we have plans with Prize Picks this weekend. We'll be, I don't know if we're supposed to say that, but we'll be there to working on some things there for the Prize Picks World Championships. Make sure you check out all the tweets, and we'll drop the link in chat here shortly to join our team for this weekend. We got the Prize Picks World Championships that we'll be boots on ground for. So make sure you join that. Make sure you're tapped into everything that's going on there. We're going to drop some gobs. We're going to get surgical. We're going to win that thing. Make sure you're there for it. Bunch of subs for the intro. W, thank you for the sub bangs. I don't have the Twitch chat up because I can't, but let me know when it happens. Yeah, K-Don was also held. That's a story for another day. There's a lot of bad reffing in the NFL yesterday across multiple games. But yeah, we'll leave that for another day. Again, shortened time, so we got to lock in. Jengis, what's good? Leonard Fournette to the Bills pending physical. That is interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, W bangs. And yeah, let me know who you guys took if you did make it through the double survivor week, week 8 here. I know a lot of people took similar things like crabs. If you did lock it in early, a lot of people took the Bills, which is probably sweatier than people would have liked. A lot of people took Chargers last night too. So let me know if you made it through the double survivor and who you took. You got more bangs. More bangs. Beautiful. And yeah, Fat Girls. Missed you too, of course. Glad to be back. But like I said, we're here for business. We have Sports Equinox. Obviously, we start with Monday Night Football here with Raiders Lions. We got a ton of NBA games, a ton on the ice as well. And then, of course, we got World Series Game 3. So we do need to lock in. And yes, Rip Kirk. Huge Kirk stan. So I was in absolute moose piss, even though I faded him yesterday with the Packers, which didn't work out. He's probably one of my favorite players, not on my own team in the Bucs. So to see him go down with an Achilles at this stage of his career, when there's a lot of question marks that's going to come up after this, which there already was because we really didn't know if he was going to return to the Vikings or not. Now it feels like that probably puts that into writing there, into stone. That sucked to see. Absolutely sucked to see. Kitch bang, W's, took the Chargers and Lions, W's. But yeah, super tough scene for Kirk. You hate to see that for the guy. And to be honest with you, I was looking forward to potentially investing in the Vikings if they look good this week and got a win and taking them to make the playoffs. And now that's coming to an unfortunate end. So hate to see that for Kirk. Hate to see that for the Vikings. And yeah, Kirk, all-time good dude. Absolutely hate to see it. Level 3 hype train. We are so locked. Let's go. That's what we need. You guys usually bring the vibes on a Monday morning. That's what we need, or I guess Monday afternoon, technically. That's the vibes we need. Again, Sports Equinox, you're going to hear it 50 times today. We have to lock in. Penix and Jetta would be fire, though. I think anybody to Jetta would be pretty fire. So, I mean, I can't argue with you there. And, yeah, shout out to Will Levis, too. Obviously, only one game. Really tough. Despite, even though it's Will Levis and you're not game planning for Patrick Mahomes, people, not even just like coaches, but people who play on defense will tell you it's really tough to adjust to a quarterback that you really don't know what's going to happen with. Like we talked about in college football, like TCU against Colorado week 1 when they had no idea what a whole new roster was going to do. That's tough to do and tough to adjust to. But Levis, I mean, he went into that situation. He looked fantastic. So I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like for the rest of the season with the Titans there. If you look like his box score stats, really doesn't look incredibly impressive outside of the touchdowns, but he had a couple of bombs, really didn't do much else. But those couple of bombs were electric. That D-Hop connection, I believe 3 times on those touchdown balls, absolutely incredible. So I'm interested to see if this is a turning point for the Titans and their offense for the rest of the season. Falcons suck on the road, and their defense is good, but not fantastic if you attack it in the right ways, and that's exactly what the Titans did. So I'm going to give it an asterisk for now, but I'm really excited to see, as a person who does have Titans future investments too, I'm excited to see what this team is going to do the next couple of weeks. And I think we'll find out very, very soon if this is just a flash in the pan, or maybe they struck gold with the pick in the draft that nobody really thought was going to pan out very well. So we'll see there. And I guess the whole world gets to see him in a couple days here. So that'll be pretty exciting. I think Penix is hurt and it's not reported. He hasn't looked the same the last 2 weeks. Yeah, there's definitely – we can talk about Michael Penix for a second. We can talk about the Pac-12 for a second, I guess, because I talked about this. I don't know if it was on BTL or the Lab because we had a couple of big games coming up a few weeks ago. I think it started with last week. A couple of big games in the Pac-12, and I was like, you know what? Whatever you think about the Pac-12, throw it away because there's going to be absolute madness. We're starting to see that. And Penix is something definitely looks off. I wouldn't be surprised if he's hurt. A couple of these games, he just hasn't looked the same, and you're going to see like he's a guy who's been very, very good at keeping the football, controlling the football, not turning it over, and he's had a lot of turnover-worthy throws. Obviously, in that Arizona State game last week, he had multiple turnovers, not just on interceptions, but fumbles as well. Everything just looks off with him a bit. I mean, you can say last week or 2 days ago, I mean, he dropped 40-something points, granted against a Stanford defense, so he can only look off to a degree, but just something is definitely different about that team. So I'm not so sure what to think about Washington moving forward. I do think that I'm standing firm in my ground that Washington's not going to go undefeated, not just because everything looks a little different at this point in the season, but some tough slate of games coming up, especially on the road. I believe they have back-to-back that I was looking at targeting them in. Washington going to USC, I believe, and then Oregon State. So those are going to be tough. I still think they slip up somewhere in there, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. And yeah, while we're speaking about this Pac-12, definitely going to give Arizona their flowers. Took them late in the night. That was a little secret squad ride for the fellas as we were going out in Boston Saturday night. They got the job done. They're a good team, and a lot of the teams when they're going on the road in the Pac-12, especially against those teams that they have the firepower to beat you, they're going to do it. It's just why it's going to be the source of a lot of the madness for the Pac-12. So Washington is holding on for dear life at this point to see if they can stay undefeated. But we got a lot of teams across the board in the Pac-12 because they're just so deep that it's going to get weird. It's going to get really weird. If you haven't seen it enough, already get super weird. Teams like Arizona, teams like Cal, who almost did it, really should have done it. That was a devastating collapse by them against USC. Those teams are going to cause some chaos in the rest of the Pac-12 for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff going on this weekend. A lot of exciting stuff. And the Pac-12 is awesome, and it's been awesome all year. Nothing's going to change about that. But we don't have college football today. We got to head to the gridiron. We got to go straight to Detroit, where this is one of the biggest games, not because they're playing the Raiders, obviously, but it's one of the first Monday Night Football games they've had in a long time. So the fan base is really looking forward to this one, even coming off of that pretty destructive loss against the Ravens last week, which shout out that squad ride. That was extremely air. And the Ravens, I think, are a team that's starting to get it together. I think everybody's pretty bought into that by now. But now we got the Raiders coming into town. Yeah, shout out the Ravens goods. They did their job. Maybe not the goats yet, but they'll get close if they keep playing well. You can slip them into that category if you want.
I've already done that. Yeah, I'm just waiting until we redo that segment and you see it.
It's gonna be loaded in there before we even start doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hilarious, bro. Hilarious. But yeah, shout out the Ravens, man.
Yes,
Lamar looks like MVP Lamar right now. So gotta be scared of him.
The defense too is getting slept on.
It is. They've started to get it together a little bit. I mean, you gotta give them credit for what they did against the Lions, even if it's the Lions on the road in that spot, but they made them look bad.
I hated the ending of the game where they almost gave the Cardinals a chance for like zero reason. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did. Yeah, that was a weird situation
because that can happen again, and it can go the opposite way that we want it to at some point.
Yeah, you can only hope it doesn't. But yeah, that Cardinals Mima was definitely nuts. Yeah, yesterday. If you have a Cardinals ticket in your pocket, go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy, but yeah, GG's to that. But the Ravens had me scared. The Lions are coming off of that pretty disappointing performance. Goots, what do you think about this game?
What do I think about this game?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you would look at it and just be like, it's got to be a Lions bounce back spot. But in my eyes, I see a tight game, and that's really all I need to take the Raiders.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on that same side. The Raiders, I mean, this morning, 7.5 down to 7, which obviously you're landing on a key number there. Total's high, but I'm not really buying into that because I do think everybody kind of expects the easy bounce back spot here, especially with the Lions defense, but don't really realize the Raiders play pretty slow, and you have Jimmy G back, who's not a fantastic quarterback, but he's a pretty decent game manager compared to what a Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. Then you also have, like I said, the assumed bounce back from their offense against the Raiders defense. That's not good, but they play a lot of super soft coverage. So they keep a lot of stuff in front of them, which is why it's not like they put up great numbers like on the baseline on their defense, but they don't give up nearly as many points as you would think because they just let teams chunk them down the field for super long drives. But red zone defense, not incredible, but by the time you get to that point in the drive, you're looking up and it's 7-0 with, I don't know, 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Not literally, but stuff like that. So I kind of like the under in this game.
Yeah,
that might be what I would take because I want to take the Raiders and I want to back the Raiders in some form or fashion without taking the Raiders.
That's one way to do it. Yeah,
that's what I want to do because I think even if Jared Goff, because like Jared Goff, in essence, should have a pretty decent game because like if there's any defense that Jared Goff is going to dice up, it's going to be a defense that's going to give him everything underneath. So like that's exactly what the Lions or the Raiders are going to do. So like from a prize pick square perspective, I love to put the tonsils on Sam Laporta today.
Here we go. The Sam Laporta tonsils.
That's what I have to do. I haven't done it too many times, like in game, I guess you could say. Like there's not many times that I've done like this is Sam Laporta day because I've just been kind of rooting for the touchdowns. Like I haven't gone to the grave with him for like a square for I don't know, maybe all but one game. Pete, you want to hop on and talk ball? Yeah, I'll send you a link. I know you got to play in this game too.
To talk ball.
But yeah, I love Sam Laporta. I think when Jared Goff does get a lot of the stuff underneath, I think it's going to be to Sam Laporta. And the Raiders' linebacking core has been terrible at defending tight ends all season. And the guy who's going to get a lot of work underneath and going to have a lot of catchable passes is Sam Laporta. So I like his over receptions at 4 because I do think, like I said, the Raiders are going to give him a lot underneath. I'm a little worried about the yardage. That's the one spot I guess I have been a little sharp, not to pat myself on the back, but picking my spots with Laporta is between the yardage and the catches, and I think he gets a lot of volume today. I don't know how long it goes for, but I'm definitely willing to take a stab at Sam Laporta receptions at 4. That's my night. I'm in for that. Well, we got 1 square per sport, W tonsils. Yeah, we might have to cook up a little Equinox PP lay. That's what we might have to do. Both rookie TEs scored today. I'll put my nuts on balls on the table for Laporta over 4 receptions. I don't know if I'm there. But I definitely am willing to go to the grave tonight and say that that's one of my favorite squares, probably my favorite square for the game. But yeah, Laporta, Trent's going to take Sam Laporta first tight end. He's debating between him and it's honestly probably a blessing for him that St. Whale is sick. So that's probably the only thing that's keeping him from taking him again. So it's got to be Sam Laporta, and I would love that because I believe that would cash his season-long square, which I have in a handful of things, probably more than I should. So I could love it, and I'd love to see it. Gibbs, I think, is going to have a pretty good game too, but at the same time, I just don't know what the approach is going to be as far as Jared Goff against that defense because theoretically, I mean, it's defense. It's been good if you look at the numbers or some of the numbers, but schematically, I have trouble believing that they're going to be able to stop him for at least short check down completions. We fading the Adam Sun God square. Is there an Adam Sun God square? I mean, yeah, probably. It's not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea. Oh, we're already on puck, man. We're already on puck. Slow down. We'll get there. We will absolutely get there. It looks like we got POD Pete in the house, man. POD Pete.
What's up, everybody?
How we doing?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I saw you going, and I was like, he's alone? Let me just go talk some ball.
Yeah, there you go. Always welcome. While we're here, just jump right into it. I saw Jared Goff.
Yes, sir.
Talking about it.
Absolutely love Jared Goff under on passing yards. So I use this. It's like a data set, gives you plus EV props, and it's called Outlier, and they give like, let's say there's 50 props in a game, they might show 3 or 4 different ones. And this one showed the most plus EV in terms of VIG and all those fancy numbers for Jared Goff at 273.5. And I looked into it because it's like, just because it prop shows plus EV doesn't mean you just take it. So I looked into it and I was like, the Raiders, they're not known for having a good passing defense, but they only allow 199 yards per game. That ranks 7th in the NFL. And I think you already mentioned it. They don't let anyone go deep on them. It's everything kind of over the middle. It's short dump off passes. They let you kind of grind it out. And I know David Montgomery is not in the game, right? He's hurt, but I think this could be the Gibbs show. I think he goes over on his rushing yards as well. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is dealing with an illness. He's listed as questionable, so I don't think he's 100%. And Jared Goff is a great quarterback, obviously, but he averages 271 passing yards a game. So on a primetime game, if you think about game script for a second, the Lions will probably be up and then run the football out, right? We see that on every one of these primetime games, right? And if you're saying, well, the Raiders haven't faced that many great quarterbacks this year, and you'd be right. But Justin Herbert had 170 something against the Raiders. The only quarterback who has gone over this line against the Raiders this entire season was Josh Allen when they won 38-10. He was 31 of 39 for 274. That was the best game by far. So I think he flies under this. Like I said, I took it at 273.5. It opened at 285, and it's just continually getting bet down, even though I've seen a lot of people on the over. Everyone and their mother is going to have Jared Goff 200 plus passing yards in their parlay. Now, 200 plus might hit, but I don't think he's at this number. So this is my favorite prop of the season. And it's the most, I don't know exactly how to say it, but it's the highest plus EV play that I've seen on Outlier this entire year.
Yeah, I mean, I have no argument for that. I have no argument. I like it. And I think regardless of how, I think he can be extremely, I mean, he's going to be very efficient because he's going to take a lot of stuff underneath. But even if they put together drives and the Raiders aren't really stopping them, I think those drives are going to be so drawn out that you're not going to see the volume really needed to soar over this. So, I mean, honestly, regardless of the game script, I like it.
And I think Gibbs is going to kind of run through this front like Swiss cheese. So it's like, I think they're going to dominate on the ground. I think they're going to control time of possession. And I think Gibbs is going to do a lot of the legwork. And I don't think you're going to need like 265.5. It may not seem that high, but that's a pretty high line. And it makes sense, right? That's why I think it's wildly inflated, because it's a primetime game. It's Jared Goff at home. People expect him to just light it up. And he might play well, right? Say he goes for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's a good game. Still under by 20 yards. So, and yeah, that Gibbs line, it opened at like 61.5 and it's up to 70.5. Like, I think he rushes for like near 100. I think he has a great game.
Well, I would assume it ticked up because now you see what the news of everybody officially out / Amon-Ra sick. It's like
probably
contextually, I guess it makes sense. But yeah, it's ticking up. It's definitely ticking up for a reason.
But even before that, I thought he was going to dominate in this game. But yeah, I mean, that certainly helps.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. So, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. Let him rush for 100 or whatever as a Gibbs fantasy owner who needs a massive game out of him today. I would love that. And then Jared Goff goes for 250, all of them the Sam Laporta, and we move. It's a good game.
It's 250 yards passing for Goff, and it's all the Laporta.
he does that. If he gets another, I don't know another, but if he gets a 100-yard game with a touchdown, then I'm buying a jersey on the spot. I should already have a jersey. It's on me lacking for the purchase, but I'm going to need one instantly. I might have to put together a Sam Laporta parlay only today.
You might have to. I like you buy the jersey for the legacy guy. Like, I'm a proud owner of a Baker Mayfield-led Rams jersey. When he had that comeback last season, I bought the jersey immediately. It gets a lot of talk at bars. People are like, is that a Mayfield Rams jersey? I'm like, yeah. One of the great quarterbacks in the history of our franchise.
Yeah, I want to fight you for that jersey now. I despise that man with everything in my being.
Really?
Yeah, it's so hard to watch.
The issue is we're probably going to have to take the Bucs against the Texans.
No, dude, I'm so out. I'm so done.
I think the book's out on CJ.
Yeah, it kind of is, which that can be a discussion for another day. But yeah, that line stinks.
Yeah.
Line stinks. I'm just so tired of watching Baker Mayfield football. Not that it's all his fault, but he's not helping.
No, he's definitely not helping.
Yeah, not at all.
Well, Mike Evans has stunk. Like, he drops 2 or 3 balls every game.
Well, to be fair, he also, I mean, it was weird because like we were at both games and like I'm not rooting against Mike Evans. I can't really do that because I'm
But you
sitting
are.
there with his jersey on. But like I'm not minding if he's going there and just not finding the ball, which against the Falcons he did for a little bit. But the Bills game, Baker missed him wide open like 4 times, and it was like halftime just missing him on target, but half the time he's just streaking down the side of the field wide open, and Baker does not even look his way. So I mean, it's a little bit of Baker's fault, not all Mike, but he hasn't been incredibly consistent, which is why we faded him in the first place, which we'll see if that works out or not. But
Baker does kind of look like a pudgy Bryce Young a little bit, just kind of short,
I don't know about
waddling
that.
around.
I don't know about that. It's wild. That's wild. It is super entertaining to see him run though. He has like the one breakout run a game that just gets you so fired up. And he's Lamar Mayfield and it gets you hype. But everything else is just so mad. So it makes me so mad to watch.
Remember when he went 10-6 with the Browns?
Yeah, I saw. When I was up in Boston this week. Somebody went out Halloween dressed as Baker Mayfield with a Browns jersey on, and I almost had to fight him on the spot. Almost had to do it.
He's better than Watson.
I wouldn't say that. Healthy
I
Watson. Healthy Watson.
Healthy Watson.
Healthy Watson. All right. But yes, I do want to wrap up Monday Night Football talk so we can get to the ice and get to NBA. But Jared Goff 100 yards, your play of the season. People are saying.
Play of the season. Absolutely love it. Do you want to talk World Series or
we can talk World Series while you're on. Yeah. We'll get that through very quickly. Rangers D-backs game 3 in Arizona. How we feeling? How we feeling about the series right now?
It's electric. I mean, the series is phenomenal. Like, I know there was a blowout in that 9-1 win, but I thought Merrill Kelly threw an absolute gem. I don't think he missed a spot all night. I thought it was one of, like, you look at the box score and you're like it was a great start, right? But he didn't make one bad pitch all night. That ball that Garver hit out was a good pitch. It was like a low and in sinker that he just got good wood on and got in the air. And even in the post game, or not post game, it was like right after the at bat. I think it was either Rosenthal or Verducci. They go down and they're like, "Have you ever been able to do that in that pitch?" He's like, "No, like maybe a couple of singles and a double, but I've never been able to get the ball in the air like that." And then Ketel Marte setting a record for most postseason hits to start a career with 18. That's the most of all time. More just to start a career, that's just postseason hit streak, beating Jeter, Manny Ramirez, and Hank Bowers, who played with the Yankees in the 50s. And then obviously game 1 was magic. I went with the Rangers. I got him at -105. Brandon Pfaadt. I love Brandon Pfaadt. And I think you do too. If I'm not mistaken, are you a Brandon Pfaadt guy? Like
going through waves. I guess there was like a time when he first came up that I backed him a lot, and then when he started having trouble a little bit during the regular season, I faded him a good bit. So I've been kind of up and down. I wouldn't say I'm a Brandon Pfaadt guy or not necessarily, but
I guess my point is, like, I believe in him long term. I think he is going to be a good starter.
I can agree with you there.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he pitches relatively well today. The reason why I don't think he pitches well, it's just a really bad matchup against the Rangers. So what we've seen from Pfaadt this season, and increasingly more in the playoffs, is he's utilizing his power sinker, which has been very, very good. The issue is the Rangers love sinkers. 7 of the 9 hitters in their lineup have a 350 WOBA or above. And just for reference, the average WOBA in Major League Baseball is 318. They obviously hit fastballs, and they're the best slider hitting team in the entire sport. That's 3 of his 4 most used pitches. And if we remember, Brandon Pfaadt, his welcome to the big leagues moment was when he allowed 7 earned in 4 innings against the Rangers. The Rangers have outscored their opponents on the road 52-21 in the playoffs so far. They have yet to lose a road game. So the home field advantage, it's kind of nil. Like, the Diamondbacks are 43-38 at home this year. Good home team, not electric, right? And I think it's a hot take. I mean, I don't know if it's a hot take, but it is if you've watched Max Scherzer so far in this playoffs. I think he shoves. I think he dominates. This is a former Diamondback. And
people forget.
I've faded him a couple of times in these playoffs so far. I think I faded him both times. And it was because he was in his injury window. He was dealing with an arm problem 4 to 6 week timetable. He pitched in week 5 and week 6 of that timetable. Now he's had 6 days off. And Max Scherzer, the psychopath. This might be his last start, right? Because if they lose this game, it might not go 7, which would be his next start. Diamondbacks might win the series, right? The winner of game 3 normally goes on to win the World Series.
Yeah.
So I think the psychopath in Scherzer dominates tonight. I think the Rangers have success against Pfaadt. I think they win game 3. And I picked the Rangers in 7 anyway. I think they win the World Series. So this is kind of like, who do you like to win the World Series? It's a pick 'em. I make this line minus 125 or minus 120 for the Rangers. So I see value all the way up to minus 115.
Yeah, I kind of like the Rangers today too. And I like the D-backs in the series still, regardless of what happens today.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I've seen with Pfaadt that he's done very well throughout the postseason, which especially like against the Phillies and against the Dodgers, he was doing well utilizing their aggressiveness against him, which, I mean, the Phillies especially did, but I mean, the Dodgers did for a bit too, because they're pretty desperate, I guess you could tell by watching a lot of their bats against him in that game. The Rangers are quite a bit more patient than anything you've seen, even if you go back to what the Brewers series, I believe he was in too. I think this is easily kind of the toughest matchup for him. You talked about everything against the sinker ball, and I think the Rangers are not only the team that's best suited to hit well against that arsenal, but they're also a team who's been able to pick out those pitches and not just pound fastballs and sinkers into the ground and hit well against the off speed and stuff like that. It's like, I think this is a tough matchup. Like, we haven't really seen Brendan Pfaadt get in trouble pitch count wise for a majority of his postseason appearances. I think this is the first one where he does. So like, I think he get into a D-backs bullpen that's been really, really good this postseason out of nowhere, but I think you're getting into them a little bit early today, which is not really a situation they've had to be in all that often with the way that everybody, including Brendan Pfaadt, has pitched in this little run. So I kind of like the Rangers today. I wouldn't be surprised if they strike first and early against them.
Couldn't agree with you more, and I think you made a really good point about the pitch count. One of my favorite squares on the board, and a square that I combined with Goff under yards, is Brandon Pfaadt under 13.5 pitching outs. I think this line should be at 12.5. I don't think he goes beyond 4 innings. I would still take it at 12.5. Torey Lovello, the manager for the Diamondbacks, have been extremely cautious with his starters. Even when Brandon Pfaadt threw 5 2/3 of 2 hit ball, 9 Ks, absolutely dominated. And if he replicates that performance, we're losing this prop and we're losing the game pick, because that means he put up a legacy start, which is, it's the World Series. Literally anything can happen. I just don't see that happening. And I think if he gets into a little bit of trouble, which he has in more of his starts than that start, he even only threw 13 outs against the Dodgers. He didn't give up a run in that start. They don't want their guys facing this lineup 3 times through, especially with an off day the day before. And because of the blowout nature, everybody in their bullpen is pretty much rested except for Saalfrank, who's like, he's their lefty guy. He's not Thompson. He's not Ginkel. He's not Sewald. So I don't think he goes over 12 outs, not 13.5. Again, another prop that showed plus EV on our side as well. So I don't think he goes 3 times through. So I took his under 13.5 pitching outs.
I'm with you. I'll probably break that into an entry as well. I like it. Like everything you talked about. I appreciate you coming on, talking a little ball, little World Series, little Monday Night Football, little NFL Player of the Year from Pete. You don't get those. Those don't grow on trees.
Those don't grow on trees. First 2 you play of the NFL season for me. It's week 8.
We love to see it.
Can you imagine if it hits? It'd be awesome.
Can you imagine?
It might.
Look, I think the world would stop spinning. we get tilted off its axis and we'd be cooked. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, W's. We're going to get to NBA and NHL a little bit here. But again, appreciate you coming on, talking a little ball, giving the people what they want.
Yeah, I don't know shit about those 2 sports, so I'll leave you be. Just know Knicks money line, maybe.
Who are they playing?
I don't know, but
they're probably going to have to fade when you said that.
Julius Randle sucks dick, though. I'll see you guys later.
See ya. Hilarious. All right, tempo and pace. We're going to get to a couple stuff. We're not going to go through like the whole slates of NBA and NHL, not just because we don't have the time, but I also want to be a little more efficient because I have just a handful of looks in either spots. We can start with the NBA, what we have on this board. Bulls Pacers is the first game, one of the first games that I looked at today. Because first I looked at this line, I felt like it was pretty short for the Bulls, and we talked about this, or Krabs talked about this. I believe it was the last stream that we had, the Pacers Wizards game. Pacers, they play at one of the fastest tempos in the league. Their offense has been extremely efficient, but they've also played against defenses like the Wizards, frankly, who cannot hold 5-part cards if they really wanted to. So the Bulls have really struggled offensively and just been asked for a majority of the start of the season, which, funny enough, because I was looking to see what their team total would be at. Because in this game, obviously, you're going to get a little Pacers tax on the total, but this Bulls team has been pretty consistent. I believe they've been hanging between 103 and 104 in all of their games so far. We see a team total of 113.5 on the move and continuing to fly juice towards the over. I don't know if I want to just limit myself to getting sharp with the Bulls in this game. So I'm going to take the over, the 229.5 in this game, because I do think the Bulls offense wakes up again. But on the other side, the Pacers match up pretty well against this Bulls defense too. I was looking at the couple of games the Bulls have had so far. You can see any team that has a decent facilitator of the offense has been dishing. So we talk about like games against the Raptors. I saw Dennis Schroeder at 10. He wasn't the only one. I think Scotty Miller, not in the NFL. Scotty Barnes also had 10 assists in that game, which he's kind of their secondary facilitator there. And if you go through the couple of Bulls games here they've had so far, it's kind of telling the same story. So who plays for the Pacers? It's going to do just exactly that. Tyrese Halliburton. He's going to have a prime Halliburton game. So I would not mind not just backing his assists, but I think he's going to do everything today for that team in a high-scoring game. So I wouldn't mind backing his PRA. But I'm taking the over this game. I think regardless of what Bulls team we see, because I do, again, the Bulls I feel like are always pretty sharp and let us down. Not that I'm heavily backing the Bulls, but I pay attention and keep tabs into what happens when they're in these spots. The Bulls are sharp a lot, and they have been a couple times to start the season, haven't come through. I would still lean this being the game to kind of get it together and we see a complete Bulls performance, but I don't want to limit myself to that. Give me the over because I do think this team is just bad. And I think the Pacers, the way that they're playing early enough in the season, I do like this team. And I also think Halliburton is going to facilitate a masterclass of an offense today. So give me his PRA, primarily on his assists, but also give me the over in this game. Love it. Ref loves it. WWW. Speaking NBA, you're listening. Yeah. I make sure to, again, I'm not going to go through the whole board because I only have a handful of spots on a given day. I try to pick out a player or two, but this is the one for today. Absolutely. And then, like I said, if we're talking prize picks board, Halliburton in that game. Goods go.
I've been buying this Bulls bad news since that first game, since they had a team meeting after losing that first game. I've been just waiting for them to cover a spread. And I'm glad you came on here and say this because I was like, I need to find a better way to play this. And
yes.
This is exactly what I was looking at last night. I was like, 100%. I should play this over.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my heart of hearts, this feels like the game that the Bulls are sharp and are finally going to do it, which, again, like I really don't want to do it with the Bulls because this team just stinks, frankly, and I think they're going to be horrendous for the entire season. But look at the team total. I was eyeing the team total because, like, obviously you're going to get a higher team total in a Pacers game. It's a Pacers tax. They're not playing the Pistons, Raptors, and Thunder. I guess Thunder pretty comparable. I guess you're going to see total wise, but that 113.5 was plus money when I was looking at it last night after I just got back and sitting like minus 120, minus 125 a lot of places now. So it's on the move along with the total in that game. I do think the Bulls, regardless of how the game ends up, their offense is going to keep up for the first time all year. And what they scored 102, 104 in overtime, and then 104 in regulation throughout the rest of the season. This is the first time you're going to see their offense really wake up. So again, defensively, I still think they're going to get cooked. And like I said, facilitation wise, like Cade Cunningham did things, Dennis Schroeder did things. Shea obviously did things in those games that I think Halliburton is going to do times 50. So he's going to have a day.
Also, Jalen Smith went to my high school, had history class with him. I'm waiting for him to pop off one game.
Could be the game.
It could be. Jalen Stick, baby.
I'm so in. I'm absolutely so in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably my one cider total, or at least my favorite cider total play on the NBA board. Prize pick square wise in that game, going with Halliburton PRA, but also It's kind of a different game, which some news now honestly might be affecting this line sometime soon in Miami, Milwaukee. We got to go with the Tyler Hero narrative today. Got to go with that. And it seems like now Bam is questionable in this game, which is great for, Tyler Hero on the scoring front. But this line is starting to tick back to the Bucks. They're up to 6.5 now, I believe, from 5.5. With the news that he's questionable, we'll see how that ends up coming to terms come tip of this game. But this is the one kind of narrative that a lot of people are at least going to back or mention today that I will 100% buy into. When he goes to Milwaukee, which is relatively close to his hometown, which I have friends back there. They all hate Tyler Hero for what he did spurning Wisconsin and ending up not going there, which is hilarious and a story for a different time. But he goes back there, he shoots, and that's regardless of who's in the lineup. And last time he was in Milwaukee, was in the playoffs in game 1, the game that he broke his hand, and he was chucking before that game. And I think this, along with the everything you have going on the other side, is going to be a game where he's going to have to score. He's going to have to facilitate that way and do a lot of this offense like he kind of did for a bit early in that game this weekend against the Celtics. I think you're going to see a very similar role for him in this game, so I'm gladly taking his 21.5 more than points, which I believe is on the board, which, again, we'll see how the line kind of reacts if Bam is out or not. But with Bam in, I like this play. With him out, I love it even more. So if you got to pay a little bit of a price for it, come tip off and you see a 22.5 or maybe a little higher, gladly buy in there. But I think he takes a role in this offense today, so I will gladly take a stab there. And Jimmy discount. This is actually huge, absolutely huge. Jimmy's been discounted a couple of these games now, and it hasn't really gone too well. So I will gladly buy into a Tyler Hero offensive showing when Jimmy is discounted and Bam might be out. I think that's the recipe you need in this game here. Because, if you get an offensive showing from, Kyle Lowry, who has done absolutely nothing, then I will tip my cap and hang to it. But yeah, he just got bumped up to 22. I assume that if Bam gets confirmed out, 22.5 now. Yeah, I'll gladly pay the price for that. Gladly pay the price. But yeah, he's going to do a lot for this offense today. I trust in Tyler Hero. Need a sub goal for me to get that emo cut. I hate to tell you, but I am certainly not doing that. Certainly not doing that. I can't even go back to Jimmy Butler. This picture, dudes, bro. I don't know how it's like. I don't know if I can ever back Jimmy Butler on Prize Picks this year. Just looking at that, I can't get myself to click the button on that profile picture and lock that in. I really can't. The Blue Book has some Sports Equinox plays to fade. We'll definitely take a look at that. Shout out Jalen Duren. He has been grubbing on the boards. Love Hero, Bucks revenge spot from last year. Yeah, probably is. Which, that's only that game script I would love for Tyler Hero, to be honest with you, as long as it doesn't get out of hand, which I really don't think it will be. And yeah, he's not cringe for that. I think it's funny. That's just Jimmy Butler activities, man. I just don't know if I can click a square and just say, you know what? I'm going to go to the grave with Jimmy Butler today when I see that cut, that profile picture, man. Maybe it's just me. But I can't get myself to do that. But that's probably a majority of what I have for the NBA. I'll continue to hop in the lab and definitely listen to Surge Stream. I believe we have Mikey and Shelly that'll be hosting that today. See what everybody likes. But NBA for me, Bulls Pacers over 229.5. Tyrese Halliburton over PRA in that game. And then in this Heat Bucks game, we're going Tyler Hero over points, more than points at, I guess, now 22.5, which I really do not care to. And I'll circle back with them on Surge Stream. I'll probably pop back on and talk about that a little bit. PNA, not a bad look either. Let's go to the ice. We got to do that. Start at the semi-bottom of the screen here. Kraken game. Kraken Lightning in Tampa, which this line has been coming down a little bit, I guess, in favor of the Kraken. Jonas Johansson, the GOAT for the Lightning, coming off back-to-back shutouts, which, funny enough, the last game that he gave up a goal was the one that we were at in Tampa against the Leafs, where they choked a 3-1 lead. Started the trip off with piss before watching the Bucks being pissed the very next night. After that, 3-0, I believe, shutout against the Canes at home, then 6-0 against the Sharks. He's had a legacy 2-run game. I'm going to go off on a limb and say it ends today against the Kraken, which the Kraken, I think we've seen with the Lightning, their defensive struggles for a little bit to the start of the season. The last couple games, it's looked like we have I don't know, have reignited the defense, but realistically, I mean, one of the games was the Shark, one of the game was the Hurricanes in a pretty tough spot there. So I'm kind of giving that an asterisk, but Lightning defense, to the blind eye, I guess you could say it turned a corner. I'm not believing in that. The Kraken team is in a pretty tough spot. But when I look at the lines of this game specifically, I mean, you see Jonas coming off of back-to-back shutouts, but you look at Kraken team total, it's 2.5 for -140 up to -150. I think they blitzed them early in this game. And shout out to Jen. I think he's on Kraken to score first. A lot of these teams and goalies off of rest against teams that have been rolling for a little bit now. And the Kraken are in the midst of I think 4 or 5 game road trip nearing the end there. So I don't love to back those teams, but their offense in this spot, I think, rolls here. So I was looking forward to laying a Kraken team total for 2.5 before it got super, super juicy to the over. Now you're seeing -150s and -155s for that over 2.5. I'm going to take the over in the game. See me over 6.5 because I do think, again, the spot that you do want to fade these teams is defensively, and I do think the Kraken are not going to do incredibly better with the spot they're in. Last game of a pretty solid road trip here for a little over a week. But I do think you're going to see that regression from a Lightning defense that's looked pretty decent, albeit these last couple games. But again, one of those games was the Sharks, who 5 of me could be up there on the ice and look great defensively. But again, was against looking at the Canes. They look weird in that game. I have really nothing for that Canes team that wasn't ripping puck for a majority of that game. Sloppy turnovers in their own zones. I mean, the Lightning were able to establish possession of the puck early in that game as well, and they just controlled that from puck drop throughout the entire 3 periods. So I'm not buying into Jonas and this little resurgence he's had just yet. I do think he's going to get a little better as the season progresses before we start to see Vasi, but in this spot against a Kraken team that's been so volatile to start the season, we see that 2.5 team total creep up to -150 after 2 straight 2-goal games in their last handful. I think you're seeing that for a reason with a guy coming off of back-to-back shutouts. I do think they scored 3. So if you want to lay that, be my guest. If you can get a team total over 3 flats, that's not a bad option there either. But I'm just going to go. I can't get out of those, so I can get the 6.5 in the game. That's going to be mine for the ice there. Don't be a fade today. I'm a Rob with you. I bet. W Book a Chew. And yeah, the Lightning team totals is just about where it should be with the Kraken. The Kraken is interesting. Super, super interesting. See what it's at now. It's still at that -150, which is heavy. It's heavy. It's a little surprising. Yeah, Carly, I'm locked in, man. I'm so locked in. But yeah, Kraken are going to score goals today. DeGen love that play to score first. I think they blitzed them in that game, and the Lightning are going to be chasing, which is a bad spot for their defense to be in. A little overexposed. We've seen that a bit to start the season. So that's what I'm on there. The other play that I like that is juicy that I will lay with is the Isles, which I believe they're sitting about -155. Yeah, -60-ish now up against the Red Wings. Big move towards the Isles, which is a little surprising against the public darling Red Wings. I think the Red Wings just get suffocated in this game. Everybody knows the Islanders style of hockey by now. It's going to be tough for a Red Wings team that's really relied on a little run and gun for a majority of their offense early in the season. And don't get me wrong, I'm 100% buying this Red Wings team, not selling them. I think this is just a really tough spot for them, a tough matchup for them on the road here against the Islanders and their defense. It seems like a 3-2 game. Not going to get cute with the puck line. Wingnuts Wings got them unlocked. Just might have. And yes, Trent Superguts, there is a surgical stream today starting up in about 10 minutes after we wrap up here. So we'll be looking forward to that. I'll probably circle back to that as well. I believe we got Shelly and Mikey on the mics there. But yeah, I like the Islanders. Lay the juice of the Islanders. Not going to get cute with the puck lines. I do think this is a relatively tight game. It seems 3-2. Maybe we see goals from the Isles. I wouldn't be shocked. I think there's a tough spot for the Red Wings defense as well. So I'll be on them. I laid there. And Krabs is on the way back from Los Angeles, Sunday Night Football. Going to see the master class by Justin Herbert there. And certainly add Wingnuts to the Tonsil Glue list. 100%. Carter Kell points. Interesting. Maybe he scores. A minute there. But yeah, I like the Isles today. I do want to give us plenty of squad ride time while we cook up. And Goots, you can hop in here if you want, because we don't have all that many plays. We didn't run over the whole board today because we really couldn't. But we do have a couple of plays that I think are pretty good nominees. Pretty good nominees. I'd say from the from the Monday night game. I guess we can start there. Limiting the games. I kind of like the under. I think that's my play there. I'm going one to the grave. I think I'm in for that. See what the number's at currently. I guess consensus. Kind of like that Bruins over, Cengiz. Don't disagree. I gave that one a quick look. So yeah, under 46.5. I do not mind that in the slightest. You can put that in the poll there. I really want to take the Raiders. The Raiders are like my Bulls today. It's just like I want to take them, but I'm taking another route to kind of back them. I'm 100% in for that. I don't know if we want to put squares in here or not, but we can go Lions, Raiders under 46.5. We head to the NBA. We can put
that over in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bulls, Pacers over 229.5. Put that in there as well. And then I guess my best play, favorite play on the ice would 100% have to be the Kraken Lightning over 6.5. I really wish that team total was bettable because that's really what that's a play on, but don't think it's going to matter. I think it's honestly the Kraken. It would just be them on the ML if they weren't in a pretty tough spot at the end of a road trip here. So I think defensively they're a little exposed too. So I'm fine just taking that over. It might just be those three goods, unless there's something else catching your eye.
I like these. Nothing really catching my eye too much.
Trying to think if we should throw squares in here or not, because there is a couple that we like.
The Halliburton square.
Yeah, toss a little Hallie in there. Maybe it's just
I would
Halliburton
prefer,
and Porta.
Yeah, I would prefer the points and assists for Halliburton.
Yeah, that's a fair angle.
Yeah.
What's the number we got there?
I can look.
Take a little quick peek. Just a little quick peek.
Just 30.5.
I'm in for that.
Okay.
I'm in for that.
I gotta make sure I spell this man's name right.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, tough.
No squares. We're putting squares in.
Squares.
See what wins the vote.
Don't worry, chat.
We'll see what's in the vote or what wins the vote.
Do you want to add another square?
Yeah, I feel like we gotta throw Laporta in there.
Okay.
Laporta over 4 receptions. It has to be there. Yeah, I'm in.
All right. So we got Las Vegas, Detroit under 46.5. Bulls, Pacers over 229.5. Seattle, Tampa Bay over 6.5. Halliburton over 30.5 PA. And Laporta over 4.5 receptions.
Sounds like a green little poll there.
Sounds like a 5-piece.
That might be a 5-piece. Okay.
5-piece.
That just might be it. That feels surgical. That feels like we're locked. That feels like a prime little Equinox poll here, and I'm excited.
I don't think the wing nuts did anything. I think we're still locked.
Yeah, I think we're super locked.
I mean, obviously I am. I didn't have the luxury of eating the wings, so.
Yeah, I mean the wing nugs. I'm still feeling that. I'm still feeling locked from that. Honestly.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Might have to get you up there, Gates. Try some wings, man.
Yeah, I need to get up there.
Those wing nuts wings. I mean, they had me floating, man. They had me floating.
I mean, I make my own pretty damn good buffalo sauce, so.
Yeah, everything I thought about wings is just out. It's out the window, man.
Yeah,
out the window. Had us locked.
I think that's what happens to everybody when they go up there.
I know, and we've had our time to kind of work throughout the weekend and really, reflect on it for a bit and lock in. Now it feels like we're destined. We're destined for some green this week.
Absolutely.
And I'm super excited. I'm in. And yeah, they're cash the wing nuts narrative, Carly. 100%. 100%. You know what's weird too? I'm not a blue cheese guy, but obviously you got to try when you go up there.
Yeah, Krabs was saying that.
It's very different, and I don't mind it at all.
How is it different? Like, how do you?
It tastes very like it tastes a little more ranchy, if that makes sense. It feels like you mix the two together.
Mm.
Feels like a little more vinegary.
It's just
I'm not
rotten
really
cheese.
sure.
Like, I don't.
I know. I mean, that's why I don't like the bottled salad type
Yeah.
blue cheese dressing, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's so different. And I don't like it, but it was perfectly fine. We had it in Buffalo.
I mean,
it's cool.
I would try it, but I've never liked blue cheese. But I mean, seeing you both say you don't like it and then still liking it is intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I literally regular chunky like blue cheese disgusts me.
Yeah, like why would anyone ever want to eat that?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother, a lot different taste than
Mhm.
Buffalo, which I mean, like everybody going in kind of told us that it was very different. I didn't believe it, but
Yeah.
we had to get it while we were there. So
There was like a
I was in.
specific name for it. What was it called?
I don't know. There was a specific name for it. It's
Krabs
just like,
said there was a specific name.
was there?
Yeah, there was like a special name for the cheese.
We got our man in here, Jeremy Perry, who's with us.
Oh
So
yeah,
maybe he's got the name. I don't know if there's a different name.
T-Bac's dad.
T-Bag's dad. Yeah, he was with us at Bar Bill.
Let me
W.
see if I
Jeremy.
Find this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was just different. I was
Yeah,
strange. Blue cheese.
Buffalo
Blue cheese or ranch in chat.
Buffalo probably knows that blue cheese is moose shit, so they wanted to make it better.
Yeah, no different name, just Buffalo blue cheese. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. It's the Buffalo blue cheese. But I mean, yeah, they make it different out there. Ranch, there's a lot of ranch love in chat.
It's gotta be ranch loving.
Definitely no Buffalonians in chat.
No,
I'm a ranch guy, but like I feel like we were up in Buffalo. We had to let the blue cheese flow, man. It's just felt like
it was just Buffalo blue cheese. What did I think it was? What the hell?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Gas though. So gas. And yeah, W Wingstop Ranch. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Now I'm hungry.
Wingstop Ranch is liquid cocaine. I
Mhm.
agree.
This-
I agree. And I also do agree with this. Good wings don't need a dip.
That's
It's just,
a great, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like I tried it while we were there. I didn't like douse every wing in it just because you had to respect the wing. But
I know my Maryland people know about the Old Bay wings. Have you ever had Old Bay wings, Javon?
I haven't, but I've heard about them. I've heard about them, and I need to try them.
Javon, you have to. You must.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, we got to get you out to Baltimore. You need to try some wings, and we got to get
Yeah,
you.
I think that's in the cards sometime relatively soon.
Yeah,
So we'll for sure be heading out there.
have you been to Be More before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All
I
right.
have not. Book of Chew, In-N-Out or Whataburger. If you like In-N-Out, you're from California. In-N-Out is mid, and I will stand on that for the rest of my life. The only people that glaze In-N-Out are from California and are delusional. Whataburger is honestly a little overrated itself, but it's just better. I hate to say it.
Never had both. Never had them.
Yeah, Whataburger. I'm not gonna act like Whataburger is the greatest thing of all time, but
No.
In-N-Out, you might as well eat pieces of cardboard for fries and the burgers. They're like the only everything that people complain about, like, oh, if you don't like In-N-Out, you don't order it right. Well, if I have to douse my order in the animal style sauce for it to be good, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
POD Pete fading the squad ride.
I bet you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. California. California. Oh, we're getting Portillo's mentions in chat. Portillo's gas. I would gladly go back to Chicago just for Portillo's. Not that we actually have one here, but it's not nearly as good.
BTL is slowly becoming like also a food.
I know. It's kind of a brand at this point.
Yeah, it literally is.
It's an interesting turn. Turn. But
Yeah, it is.
squad ride tonight. Bulls Pacers over 229.5. Halliburton masterclass. I don't know if it's going to be Levine on the other side because he just had a 50-point game, but the whole Bulls offense is going to show up today for the first time all season. I'll stand on that, and we're going to see points, and it's going to be fireworks in this game in Indianapolis. And I can tell you, it's obviously all my picks, but I like that poll that we got there for all those 5 plays.
Yeah.
I'll certainly have coin on all those plays. So I will we'll hand it off Surgical Stream, but we've got Mikey and Shelly. I don't know who else, but They'll be cooking. We'll put something together, a little sports equinox, a little entry and play, and we'll be seeing. Love these plays. Good luck to everybody on the bets. Let's have a W Monday. Bring the vibes to Surge Stream. # thank you, Javon. There you go, Carly. That's how we start off a Monday. W vibes.